Well, after 2 weeks off, hello folks, it's now time for case 55 of the World Edition. And I'm getting into the case for free.
You don't have to convince me of anything, Mr. Sanderson. Just don't lie to me.
Okay. But please call me
Down to the wire.
I need some information from you. What do you know about Frank Dresner?
Montreal. Matthew, President Hewitt's decision to withdraw from the Unified Nations was a victory for Sombra. We cannot let the international crisis escalate. That's why we're in Montreal. Intel shows that Sombra's leader is here. We'll need more info to find him, but we won't be idle. Our priority is to contact the Canadian Prime Minister, Jason Stone. Armed with the drive from Sombra's satellite, we can finally prove they're a threat. By forcing Sombra out of the shadows, we can put a stop to whatever they're planning. Stone is hosting a hockey match between Canada and the United Kingdom, promoting international peace. Let's go grab his attention. I'll come with you and Carmen, Matthew. You can't have too much security.
If you didn't know, why did you go to the courthouse?
I was following Dresner. I needed to see the man Julie was with.
Marshal Matthew, welcome to Montreal. Like you, I'm working towards maintaining the peace. Occasions like these bring nations together and promote peace. That's my priority. That's why we're here. Could we have a few minutes to talk? Marshal Matthew has vital information about a global criminal organization. I have a few concerns of my own I'd like to discuss. Let's talk in private after the game. Until then, enjoy the match with my other guests.
That's the problem. Then there's the repairs to your truck.
But I can explain that. I hit a dog.
I'm glad Stone's eager to listen, Matthew, but we shouldn't wait. If El Rey's in Montreal... Look, Matthew, Canada just scored. Everyone in here is going crazy. As I was... Matthew, the Prime Minister's down. What do you mean He's standing... Oh, God. Stone's collapsed. I'll secure the room, Matthew. You check on Stone.
Thank you. You're gonna do all you can for me.
Oh no. This is not good at all.
Police were taken behind the man from the crime scene.
Jason Stone's body.
Mr. Sanderson's statement should be suppressed.
People have been poured over and pursued a confession. Police didn't have a suspect. They have his prints, his blood, or any evidence, whether it's true or not. Ms. Ruberosa knows this. She's made the same argument herself many times.
Detective Bernard,
8 seconds.
my client who found a nail in the car. He actually went to the deceptions now. Detective Bernard's report says, in fact, there's no mention of a nail at all.
The police are not required to say how the statement was obtained other than it was voluntary.
I'll go further, Your Honor. There is nothing in the record that prevents Detective Bernard from submitting that nail as evidence against my client.
If Ms. Ruberosa is actually implying that the police would use the nail as evidence that her client was at the crime scene, that is outrageous.
The conduct is outrageous. It was tantamount to planting evidence. It's the kind of egregious conduct that shocks the conscience and demands punitive action. In this case, the suppression of Mr.
Stone's dead. Someone strangled him. How could they have killed Stone while we were right here with him? How can we bring down El Rey when the only person willing to listen to us is dead? We must solve this case fast. Somebody here must have witnessed the murder. Unfortunately, Marshal Matthew, I'm the only guest left, but I'm happy to assist. This is truly tragic. Wait, you look familiar. You're Hector Montoya, the Goodwill Ambassador from the Olympics. Quite right, Marshal Matthew. Stone personally invited me for the game, thinking my presence would foster a spirit of peace. It seems he was tragically mistaken. Looks like we have our first lead, Matthew. We'll have to ask you some questions, Mr. Montoya. If you think that hockey puck might give us some give us more witnesses, we better retrieve that faded text. The pressure's on, Matthew. We've got an assassin to catch.
Down the street, is there still that bank across from the park?
There will be one more case after this one, and I am presuming that it will be next week. But I'll start the autopsy now,
Yes, just from your outside
and I'll
camera.
get some stars, so sit tight. Okay, I have 8 stars. Why don't I get the faded puck out of the way first this time, see if that is going to lead to either the next crime scene or something else to... oh, this looks like the Prince Rupert. This hockey puck's dedicated to the victim by a certain Prince Rupert. Prince Rupert? Is that Count Rupert we met in our first investigation, Matthew? He's the Queen of England's nephew. Wow, that brings back memories. We've had a lot of adventures since then. Whatever brought Prince Rupert here, we'd better talk to him. So it looks like this may not lead to some more... Why he's at the game. This may lead to some more analyses investigated. Prince Rupert, you're a long way from your polo fields. Hockey and polo aren't that different. It's essentially the same game, but without the grass and horses. Prime Minister Stone invited one to take part in this match, doing one's duty as heir to the throne, slumming it in the colonies, all that. So you weren't in the skybox at the time of the murder.
What do you do if...
Actually, one was. One only played for the first face-off, representing the crown on the ice. One then joined Stone and the rest of his guests. Did you see his attacker? Regretfully, no. Now, one has had a frightfully tiring day. One was the guest of honor at a ceremony opening the Hockey Hall of Fame this morning. You could have told me how annoying the prince was, Matthew. Who talks about themselves in the third person? But he did mention the victim attended an opening ceremony at the Hockey Hall of Fame. Perhaps the killer was on the guest list. Let's have a look around the Hall of Fame and find out.
I don't know what to do.
Connie, every lawyer goes to his or her grave with the most horrible secrets.
We appreciate you speaking to us. Did you witness the Prime Minister's murder? No, the only person I saw talking to Stone was you, Marshal Matthew. As for the murder, I was too enthralled by the game. Stone was a peace-loving man, fighting for order under difficult circumstances. His death saddens me. I abhor violence. Thank you, Mr. Montoya. Stay close until this investigation is over. We may need to talk to you again.
And we'll reconvene this afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor. Even with the tape back in, your cross-examination of Detective Brewer really hurt my case with the jury. My offer's back on the table. Vehicular homicide, 8 1/3 to 25 years.
I'll talk to you.
Talk fast. The offer's only good till this afternoon.
I told you not to get your hopes up.
What do we do now? We fight it. We go back to trial, right?
Or we take the DA's plea offer.
8 more years in prison?
Counting the 9 you've already served,
Handkerchief.
17 years isn't bad for 2 murders.
2 murders.
Trash can.
Scary. Your wife had an affair, but not with Dresner or somebody else. You thought she might leave you? You got angry? So you called your old buddy Frank.
There we go.
Diving buddy Frank. Frank, you met in a diving class. He killed your wife for you. But
Third.
one of life's little ironies, you were convicted on faulty evidence. And once that conviction was overturned, you got in touch with Frank.
You're wrong.
You found out it was about
I know
testing
finding
your
Prime
sister's
Minister Stone's
results.
killer is our priority, but I'm worried we should be hunting for El Rey.
You're still looking for-
But it looks like you found some clues, Matthew. That handkerchief is spotted with blood. Where there's blood, there's a lead. And that garbage can is worth searching through. It wouldn't be the first time we found discarded evidence.
Remain between you and me.
That was nice. Alright, let's get the blood from that handkerchief to Lars.
Without reservation, that is what I'm sworn to do. Now you can take this plea, or you can take your chances with the jury. You know how that can go. It's up to you.
Here we go. And the trash can before I call it a night.
Sanderson, please. Couldn't have been easy for him to choose to go back to prison. I'm sure that he told him that plea was his best option.
Jonah's phone? Uh-oh.
Kudos to her for his choice.
Matthew, what's Jonah's phone doing in the trash? I don't like prying, Matthew, but I agree we should investigate. I'll let you unlock Jonah's phone.
If you had this terrible thing about Sanderson, would your recommendation have been any different?
I'd like to think not. I'd like to think either way I zealously represented his interest.
I know you did.
I gotta go. Taking Detective Bernard for a beer.
Good.
That was nice. I didn't even have to move my mouse. Jonah's phone opened his messages to Marina. I guess we shouldn't... Wait! These messages were sent moments before the Prime Minister's murder. Jonah obviously didn't lose his phone. He's trying to hide that he was texting his girlfriend when he should have been on full alert. I can't believe it's come to this, but Jonah's got some explaining to do. Other text messages. Jonah, Matthew found your phone. Look, I can explain those messages. What were you thinking? You specifically asked to be there as backup, but spend your time texting Marina. You're right, Matthew. It was stupid. I got distracted and Stone was killed on my watch. I was so embarrassed I threw away my phone. I'm sorry, Matthew. The stakes are too high for mistakes, Jonah. Do you realize this makes you a suspect? Are you kidding? I take a bullet for the Bureau, and my hitman days are over. Why would I kill the Prime Minister? You're on thin ice, Jonah. Don't slip up again.
One has a picture of some kind of line.
I'll let you two run their courses. See you when they're done. Okay, folks, we've returned. Let's get the results of the blood. The blood he collected from that handkerchief answers many questions about this murder, Matthew. Both the blood and the saliva it was mixed with belonged to Stone. The handkerchief was probably stuffed into his mouth to muffle any cries. So the killer silenced Stone with that handkerchief. No wonder we didn't hear anything over the cheering crowd. I also found traces of tetrahydrozoline in that sample, a chemical that has no place inside anyone's mouth. Tetrahydrozoline is an active ingredient in eye drops. It transferred from the killer's handkerchief to the victim's blood while it was in his mouth. The evidence is before our eyes, Matthew. Our killer uses eye drops. That's an interesting clue. There's only 5 minutes left, but I'm going to speed this up because I am needed somewhere else. I never expected to have a world leader on my table, Matthew. The lacerations on Stone's neck indicate he was strangled with some kind of garrote wire. He would have died in... I can't believe how quickly it happened. Strangle while everyone was cheering after that goal. Then the killer slips away without a trace. Not entirely. The killer left a brown substance on the back of Stone's neck, which turned out to be gravy. The gravy contains traces of melted cheese, common ingredients of the Canadian dish poutine. And there was a buffet in the skybox. This clue satisfies my appetite for justice, Matthew. We're looking for a killer who eats poutine. Poutine. I'm trying to keep my spirits up, Matthew, but it's hard to stay optimistic. Stone was murdered under our noses and solid leads are scarce. Jonah dropped the ball sending love notes to Marina when he should have been paying attention, but I can't see him murdering Stone. Moment. Hector Montoya and Prince Rupert were both invited by the Prime Minister and claimed they didn't see the killer. We must also understand what El Rey's role in this is. I refuse to believe his presence in Montreal is a coincidence. After all, Stone was murdered seconds before we could show him Bob's drive and prove Sombra's existence. Matthew, we should go to the press. The public deserves to know if Stone is dead and that the leader of a criminal organization could be responsible. Absolutely not, Carmen. We'd risk a worldwide panic, and we've no evidence that Sombra murdered Stone. We do now. I've intercepted a Sombra transmission, and it says El Rey was the Prime Minister's killer. We'll do Chapter 2 next time. Alright folks, you've returned. We'll start Chapter 2 of Down to the Wire. Matthew, I don't believe in coincidences. Stone's killed seconds before we show him proof of Sombra's schemes. And I'll be damned if El Rey isn't responsible. We should inform the media. The public's entitled to know Stone's been murdered. Absolutely not. We'd risk a worldwide panic, and there's no evidence that Sombra murdered Stone. There is now. I've intercepted a Sombra transmission. Listen to this. I've eliminated the rock. The stage is set. ER. ER clearly stands for El Rey, and the rock must be a code name for Stone. So El Rey killed Stone? Matthew, that means he was in the skybox with us. This case has got a lot bigger. Find the Prime Minister's killer, and we find El Rey. It's the moment we've been waiting for, Matthew. Shutting down Sombra for good. Then you'd better hurry to Stone's apartment. El Rey's message was transmitted from there. I know I'm a bit behind because I had a basketball game, or a local college basketball game that is, but you know what? It's okay. I've got a week to finish this case out. So really, no rush. I pretty much know where everything is. I was able to get all the stars from the bonus scene. Photograph. Victim's laptop. Yield. The first star. Nice. No sign of El Rey, Matthew. The apartment's deserted. But I see you found some clues on the balcony. Stone's laptop and an open briefcase. There's a picture of Stone shaking hands with someone. He's vaguely familiar. Let's run his face through the database. Matthew, let's make sure killing Stone will be El Rey's downfall. Security folder. Matthew, the classified folder you found in Stone's briefcase must have contained some pretty important information to deserve such a lock. But it's empty now. There's a number on that folder. Let's see if Elliot can identify it. Okay, security folder. Let's start that up. And let's get this unidentified man out of the way. Why do I... Wait a sec, is that Ronan?
1, 2, 3.
Yes, it is. Ronan Ozawa. I knew the man in this picture looked familiar. That's Ronan Ozawa. Last time we saw Ronan, he was working for the Yakuza, selling weapons and recruiting Sombra's assassins. I still can't believe he got a plea bargain in Japan. We should have never let Ronan go. What's he doing in Canada so close to the Prime Minister? Let's bring Ronan in and ask him. Believe me, I'd like to arrest this prick. Long time no see, Ronan. What was your business with Prime Minister Stone? Ever since you cut me loose, I've been dealing in information. You wouldn't believe what people will pay to know the things that I can find out. I met with Stone over a meal of poutine to discuss some of my recent discoveries. He was very interested in what I had to say. Care to share these discoveries with us? Not unless you're paying. I don't even like being here. Canada is too cold. The atmosphere dries my eyes out. You've always had ties to Sombra, Ronan. If Marshal Matthew discovers you've been running the whole thing, you're going down for good. We will see if this will be the case that I finally get to arrest Ronan Ozawa. Okay, let's see here. APR, ONX, and TLE. Easy as pie. The victim's laptop open to his emails. No sense reading them here. Let's send them to Elliot.
1, 2.
6 hours? Yep. Okay, that'll do it. I'll see you all then. Alright folks, we've returned. Let's get the results of the victim's emails. Matthew, there's something in the victim's emails you'll want to see. Stone received a message before the match confirming a meeting with the Georgina Wells. I managed to match this Georgina to one of Athal's aliases. What? Athal was meeting with Stone? We warned her to stay away, but she's here anyway, and now the Prime Minister's dead. We know El Rey's someone we've met, Matthew. We always assumed it'd be a man. What if we're mistaken? You're right. No point speculating. We need to talk to Athal.
Welcome back. Well, you've heard of Bring Your Child to Work Day, but what about Bring in Your Parents Day?
The Good Morning Hawaii team got into the action on a special career day with a twist. Malika McDonald has more.
You startle me, Marshal Matthew. I almost spilled my poutine on my dress.
For years.
Athal, we told you to stay away, but here you are meeting with Stone the very night he's murdered.
They don't
know what their child.
We've always tried to trust you, but it's getting hard not believing you're El Rey.
Bringing a case to trial.
El Rey? I'm here undercover to protect Stone, not kill him. I came to warn him. He was in danger. Well, you didn't do a very good job. He died just meters from you.
Even got practice reading the news.
You can talk. You were there too. And your weapons expert seems pretty busy playing with his phone. That's enough. We're taking you in, Assault. El Rey or not, it's clear we're not on the same side.
It's the third time telling the weather again? You tell them the weather. Yeah, that's the graphic. You ready for this? You got this. You text me all the time and tell me how to do my job, so let's see you do it, Mom.
Until 6 a.m. Saturday. Hi, sir.
And here we go. And we're going to send it over to Jody with our live weather forecast. Jody, how's it looking up there?
Inconsistent.
Okay, let's process this. Let's speed up the security folder. It's down to 310. Matthew, I know who stole those files from Stone's briefcase. It was El Rey. How can you be so sure? The number on the empty folder matches a classified dossier from the Canadian Secret Service about Sombra. Stone already knew about Sombra? Not much, but his agents correctly concluded that Bob's crash on Canadian soil was part of a larger conspiracy. So Stone would have believed us about Sombra's plans. Too bad El Rey got to him first. That's why El Rey stole those files, but he made a mistake. I found a piece of metal in the lock mechanism. El Rey picked his way in.
11-year-old Winter.
So El Rey likes to pick locks, Matthew? Let's see him pull that trick when you lock him up for good. We've got another piece of evidence against El Rey, Matthew, but the biggest mystery remains. Who is he? I still can't believe Sombra's leader was in that skybox with us. You're right, we should have another look at the crime scene. Let's go.
The two little girls are dead. Both have been shot to death. Blaine Hodges was dead from a gunshot wound in the master bedroom.
Okay.
A .22 caliber pistol was on the floor by his side.
It looked like Blaine Hodges had killed his wife and two young daughters and then set the home on fire and got in bed and killed himself.
Blaine Hodges had recently had some difficult times. He had been fired from his job at the post office for allegedly stealing $4,600.
They had been convicted of an embezzlement charge and was
Okay, let's see here.
off to jail for a short period of time. So when you found that out,
Cigarette case.
the motivating factor that he may have wanted to kill his family and take his own life.
And calendar, 5 seconds.
Began serving a 6-month prison sentence for that crime. He had also been ordered to make restitution of $9,200, a sum he apparently did not have. Was it possible that the prospect of jail
That cigarette case has the Sombra symbol carved into it. Would El Rey be brazen enough to walk around with an object like this? Those tobacco leaves should help identify who it belongs to. Let's gather a sample. And if that broken camera's still working, we should put it back together.
And his lungs, breathing passages, which would have been present had he set the fire before killing himself. And Blaine's body revealed even more telling information.
Mr. Hodges showed signs of what we call decay, which were more
And I'm gonna get some stars and some under unlimited energy happy hour. Hold on tight, folks.
Last week.
Okay, I got all the stars. I'll take the broken camera first.
Sports and lots in between. Lots and lots to talk about, but seriously, with Inside Access.
Everybody puts their pants on the same way. And these are bigger pants.
Mondays,
We need to get it right.
good luck with all that. On Unseen Stories.
8. Go ahead and press play on that security camera, Matthew. Maybe there's some footage of the murder.
On HLN.
There must be some evidence around here that Matthew missed. If I can just find it all. A security camera. That might have recorded the murder. Let me just grab...
Using a process known
Uh-oh.
as the charcoal tube method, arson investigator Tom Simpson placed samples of thoroughbred blood stains.
Did you see that, Matthew? Jonah was looking for evidence we might have missed. then climbed up and broke the security camera. What was he thinking, compromising the crime scene? What? You can't possibly think Jonah would have broken that camera deliberately to sabotage the investigation. I can't bear to think of the implications. Could Jonah have betrayed us all this time? Surely he can't be El Rey. We've got no choice, Matthew. We need to talk to Jonah again.
The same accelerant used to start the Hodges fire.
About the security camera? Jonah, what were you doing investigating the crime scene? Do you realize you compromised crucial evidence? I know, Matthew. I feel like an idiot. That camera could have captured the murder and I destroyed it. It's not like you to drop the ball twice in the same investigation. Do you expect us to believe it was an accident? You're accusing me of killing the Prime Minister? Or worse, that I'm El Rey? You seriously think I'd betray the Bureau? I know I made a mistake texting Marina. I wanted to redeem myself and help find more evidence. So I picked the lock on the skybox door and searched the room for clues. But now you're accusing me of sabotage? I've always trusted you like family, Jonah, but if it turns out you killed Stone, there's nothing I'll be able to do for you. Well, for now, Jonah is in the clear.
I concluded that the handwriting was also Earl Brandon's. One of the first things you notice with Brandon's handwriting is a very
For now.
lowercase k. It almost looks like a capital R.
Forensic handwriting analysis also
There we go.
another mystery.
Tobacco bits. Let's get that sample to Lars. We must find out who this somber cigarette case belongs to.
With some unusual drawings.
Drawing of stick figures with arrows pointing to the head and little flames drawn around.
5
If somebody looked like
will be next. 12 hours. But you know what? I'm under unlimited energy happy hour. I'm gonna speed it up.
The neck represents the strangulation.
Good thing you got a sample of that tobacco, Matthew. There was just enough to roll a cigarette. Do you think now's the time to be smoking a lab sample, Lars? Sorry, I didn't smoke at all. I got you a DNA profile first. Turns out Hector Montoya rolls his own cigarettes too. And he keeps them in a somber engraved case. Matthew Montoya's got some explaining to do. I will say this though, I know I have at least a week to get this over with, but you know what? I got interrupted by a basketball game on Thursday that I went to. I felt, and since I'm under unlimited energy happy hour, I will speed up the case, speed up some analyses once. So you did see me speed up them once or twice with just one. That cost me 1 cash. But I will. But they were for legitimate reasons. Pardon me, Marshal Mounty. This stadium air is drying out my eyes. Care to join me for some poutine? I'm sampling some of the local delicacies. No, Mr. Montoya. We wanted to ask you about your cigarette case. Can you tell us? Thank goodness you found that. I'm always losing important things. This morning I lost my hotel key and had to pick the lock to get back into my room. This is the second time we found you with somber paraphernalia. How dumb do you think we are? I told you I'm a collector of ancient South American antiquities. This case is one of my most prized possessions. You sparked my interest in Brazil when you asked me about their flyer, and I've collected pieces ever since. But my hobbies aside, I'm still an ambassador for peace, and I don't appreciate your insinuations. Let's hope your fascination didn't extend to murder, because if you killed Stone, the next item for your collection will be a prison uniform. The stakes are higher than ever, Matthew. We're not only hunting for the Prime Minister's assassin, the killer is none other than Sombra's leader. I keep wondering about Asal. We've been crossing paths from the beginning. Is it possible she's our nemesis? And Rowan has always been affiliated with Sombra. Perhaps he's been running it all along. Matthew, the longer this investigation takes, the higher the risk El Rey slips through our grasp. And let's not forget Sombra already manipulated the U.S. into leaving the Unified Nations. Political tensions are at their peak. Carmen Martinez, explain yourself. How dare you disobey my orders? What do you mean, Chief? I told you not to go to the press, and yet Stone's murder is all over the news. Oh no. We'll have to find out what Carmen is in hot water for in Chapter 3. So for now, this is Matthew. See ya then. Alright folks, we've returned. Let's start Chapter 3 of Down to the Wire. The stakes are higher than ever, Matthew. We're not only hunting for the Prime Minister's assassin, the killer is none other than El Rey. We came to Montreal to warn Stone about Sombra's hand in the world crisis, but El Rey got there first. Carmen Martinez, explain yourself. How dare you disobey my orders? Stone's murder is all over the newspapers. What? Chief, I had nothing to do with this. Imagine the consequences if the press gets wind of Sombra's involvement. Matthew, you can thank your partner for the added pressure. Now the public's demanding answers about Stone's murder. Chief, I swear You're right, Matthew. There's no time for arguing. Let's take a closer look at the Hall of Fame. We know the killer got rid of evidence there.
Anytime you can get words coming from a defendant's mouth, and they are about the subject of the crime, and here they were the Hodges family, it can be extremely important. I think that was very effective with the jury. It took the jury about 1 hour to convict Earl Bramblett of capital murder. Bramblett was sentenced to death. He was executed on April 9th, 2003 in Virginia's electric chair.
Broken plaque, ice cream, television map, microphone phone. 3 seconds.
Had it not been for forensic science, today talking about Earl Bramblett being convicted and executed for killing the Hodges family. It's just that simple. Forensics, forensics. Everywhere you look, every avenue you look at this case, forensics, forensics.
Matthew, I swear I didn't call the press about this investigation, but now we need answers quicker than ever. Let's unlock that phone, and we better fix whatever those broken pieces are while we're at it. And this map, it marks the location where Bob crashed. Let's get a sample of that hair on the map.
The crime. If she had, forensic scientists needed some way to find out.
This time I'm going to do everything right now. Da-da-da-da. It's time. At this point, I'm thinking that Jonah might be in the clear. Matthew, let's get the hair you collected off that map under the microscope, quick! I'm gonna go ahead and say that right now, that I think Jonah is in the clear. I remember back in Pacific Bay when Andrea Marquez was a suspect, she was cleared immediately because she didn't fit in, she didn't fit most of the criteria. So, my guess is that Jonah is in the clear. There we go. Ronan Ozawa's hair. The hair on that map of Bob's crash site is Ronan's. What would Ronan want with a Sombra satellite? We'd better bring him in. That is interesting, Bob. Ronan, what did you want with Sombra's satellite? Are you kidding? A single source of Sombra data is worth a fortune. I intended to sell the crash location to the highest bidder, but you tracked it faster than I had anticipated. Or maybe you wanted the drive yourself. I told you, I sell information, I don't retrieve it. Picking locks to access data is one thing, fighting spies is something else. How about killing prime ministers just before we wanted to show him the drive? You know what I think, Ronan? If we hadn't cut you loose in Japan, Stone might still be alive. It's only a matter of time before we prove you're El Rey.
That indicated to us that someone actually left the residence and took the time to use a key to bolt.
My guess is Ronan is El Rey.
From being able to easily access and enter the trailer.
Police found a small amount of marijuana and some drug paraphernalia.
John didn't deserve to have
VI4,
He may not have been
YLK, and
not have had the best lifestyle in the world.
A30. Ah, missed the 9. That's okay though.
He'd be sure of his back.
But John's prize
Matthew, you've unlocked that phone, but the data is still inaccessible. This is a specialist job. Let's send it to Elliot.
Pistol. This Colt Gold Cup was described to me from one of John's friends.
9 hours.
Yes, you would have to pry that gun away from his cold, dead fingers.
He was able to take guns apart and work on them, repair them, customize them, put fancy gold on them, things like that. It sounded as if
Ronald Hicks.
the gun collection.
and another one of John's possessions was missing. His 3-year-old
This plaque says, Prince Rupert, eternal thanks for your contribution to the cause. And it was given to him by Ronald Hicks, the leader of the USNA movement. The prince was financing USNA? We know who else was funding them. Sombra. Wait, didn't Rupert access bribes to support Sombra's European branch back during the referendum? Could Prince Rupert have been Sombra all along? We need to ask him more questions now.
Looking around like, where am I? What am I doing here?
John's parents identified
About his support of USNA.
the evidence suggested she had been
Marshall Matthew, can't one eat one's poutine in peace?
Was found during January.
After you've explained your financial contributions to USNA.
Keisha's condition.
One was not making financial contributions. One merely spoke at some of their fundraising dinners. Why would a British royal care about a U.S. political movement? The people back home recently voted in support of a similar movement. One thought one could impart wisdom on the subject. One gets tired of simply being a figurehead, attending garden parties and playing polo. The horses gave me an eye infection. Prince Rupert, I hope you're as clueless as you sound, but if you're the mastermind we're looking for, Marshall Matthew will find out. As far as I'm concerned, he's not the one. Damn it, I would have loved to bust this prick.
When your laundry blooms, your day blooms.
With my auxiliary.
For now, he's not the one.
Snuggle scent boosters.
We'll let the phone run its course. For now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we've returned. Let's get the results of the phone from Elliot. I'm glad you sent me this phone, Matthew. Anything to distract me from trying to access the protected file in Sombra's drive. I know. The phone's been heavily encrypted, but I'll come back to that in a second. It was you to send a single message. I've made contact. We'll strike if needed. Maybe El Rey sent that message. Do you have a name for us, kiddo? I don't have a name, but I do have a hint. The encryption on their phone is Mossad. Mossad? There's only one person here who uses Mossad encryption codes, and she's in custody. Matthew, let's go see Asal.
Was it Max or Mitch? Or was it Eric Wayne Proctor?
I think I had the most fun as Max.
So Eric, tell me, you had 3 jerks to choose from. Why frame Seth?
I didn't frame anybody. But if I had, Seth did have the most money, the best looks, the brightest future.
About her strike mission?
Well, Seth denies that the hat, the coat, and sunglasses are his.
How long do you intend on keeping me here, Marshall Matthew? My eyes are dry. I could use some eye drops. That can wait, Asal. We know you were planning an attack on the Prime Minister. I told you I was here to keep Stone safe. That meant striking anyone who tried to hurt him. If I were El Rey, I'd have killed you all a long time ago. Jack gave me perfect access to everyone at the Bureau. Is that a threat? Don't be melodramatic. Now, if you don't let me go, I'll pick that lock and walk out of here myself. You're not going anywhere. If you did intend to harm Stone, we've got you right where we want you.
Hate mail, death threats, people spit on her in the street. She stuck it out.
I hope you made progress with this case, Matthew. What a disaster. Following Stone's death, Countries are mobilizing their armies. We followed up some leads, Chief, but they've raised more questions. Then find me answers. Go back to Stone's apartment and give me proof of El Rey's identity. Alright, Chief, we're going. Let's get back to the Prime Minister's terrace, Matthew.
As I said, break. But do go easy on the old girl. I've put her through so much already.
You ruined your life. You lost your job, your friends, your husband. You stood by him. He's murdered again.
Only this time he dragged you into it. You perjured yourself. You obstructed justice and you could go to jail.
I didn't lie. He didn't kill that girl.
Her name was Chloe. She was only 15.
Okay.
Eric was only a baby then. He didn't know what he was doing. He thought it was a game.
A game? This is not a game. Your son is sick.
No! They cured him.
Alright.
9 years he spent in that prison. It was a juvenile facility. It was his entire childhood. Yet counseling that whole time, he is so well that they died early.
Lockpicking tools.
He showed them exactly what they wanted to see, just like he does with you.
Oh, you don't know him. He's
Ball.
boy.
There we are, 10 seconds.
He lives in a beautiful brownstone.
And he led Tony to his death, just like you led this girl into the men's room to be gang raped.
But he didn't kill her. Mrs. Wilkins, a mother knows her son. Now you know that that's him, dragging her from the hospital to her death.
A pile of leaves to search through and a set of lockpicks stained with white. Let's get to work, Matthew.
Face into the toilet, and he held it there until she was dead.
That's how much regard he has for human life. And when he gets out, he's going to kill somebody else.
You're wrong. He didn't do this.
Oh my God. Elliot, look at this. The bracelet. She was wearing it when she was
7.
She washed it up.
Bloody watch. That watch you found under those leaves is stained with blood. Better get it to Lars.
Where'd you get the bracelet?
15 hours. And finally this.
Where did you get the bracelet?
My son gave it to me. When? It was a Friday. It was the first week of May.
That was one day after
We know that El Rey picked the lock on Stone's classified files. These tools must belong to him. Better get that sample to the lab.
No. Why did you tell Detective Spencer and Stabler that you did?
My son asked me to.
9 hours. I'll let these two run their courses. See when they're
He
done.
said that,
Alright folks, we've returned. Let's get the results of the white substance. I know it's the 11th hour, Matthew, so I'll get to the point. That white substance you collected from El Rey's lockpicks is a skin treatment cream. The cream contains aloe leaf juice, onion bulb extract, methylparaben... Lars, you're losing the point! Oh, sorry. These are active ingredients of scar treatment creams. Since you know that set of lockpicking tools belong to the killer, that's another blemish on our killer's record, Matthew. El Rey has a scar. Now I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. Talk about surprises, Matthew. This watch is full of them. To start with, the blood matched Stone's, which isn't surprising considering this watch is actually the murder weapon. This garrote watch is a highly efficient concealed weapon. This wire can be extended to strangle someone in seconds. But that's not all. I gathered DNA from the wire, and in addition to the Prime Minister's profile, I managed to obtain one from the killer. It wasn't much, but I've determined you're looking for a killer with green eyes. That's it, Matthew. After all this time, we can finally look into El Rey's green eyes as we slap on the handcuffs. Garrote watch. This is it, Matthew. After chasing Sombra's leader across the globe, it's time to unmask El Rey's true identity. It's been a mind-bending case, but you've amassed all the evidence you need to arrest El Rey. Matthew, let's bring an end to Sombra's reign of terror, for good. It is Hector Montoya. Your somber days are over, El Rey. Killing Stone was your undoing. El Rey? What are you talking about, Marshal Matthew? I don't appreciate being hauled in here and interrogated at gunpoint. Drop the act, Montoya. We know everything, from the way Castillo handed you control over Sombra years ago, to Sombra's plans of using their satellite to render any country in the world powerless. You've certainly done your homework, Marshal Matthew. But if you fancy yourself strong for catching me, then you know nothing of true strength. Holy God, look at his head. Your head! Don't make the mistake of thinking these scars are a weakness, Marshal Matthew. They're a daily reminder that the truly strong, like me, are rare. I was tested by fire as a child. My parents died in the flames like the weak creatures they were. But I survived. That's when I realized life was not a gift. You had to fight for it. Great. Even as a boy, you were a sociopath. I'm no sociopath. I'm a realist. Look at this world. It's weak, pathetic. Leaders are spineless, all bark and no bite. When I met Castillo decades ago, I was immediately drawn to Sombra's ideology. The smart rule, the strong command, the weak die. I was young, but Castillo recognized I had the strength to make his philosophy a reality, so he handed me the title of El Rey. Luzagüe was our first success, proof that Sombra's vision for the world can work. So that's been Sombra's plan all along? Turning the entire world into brainless slaves? Let the weak and the old perish while you rule over everyone? Only the strong deserve to rule. The new order has begun. In case you haven't realized, your new order is finished. You've been forced out of the shadows, El Rey. You forced nothing. You think your pitiful discussions with a powerless prime minister concern me? They concerned you enough to kill him, and thanks to that, we've got you behind bars where you belong. Sombra is finished. Look at the destruction we've caused already. I brought the world to the brink of war, and putting me away won't change that. Look at you, thinking you're so clever. You know nothing, Marshal Matthew. You don't even realize your very own Chief Ripley helped Sombra from the beginning. What? Oh my goodness! I wish you hadn't said that, Montoya. This isn't true! But looking at the other ones, Prince Rupert cleared after clue 3. Jonah Karan cleared from the start, thank God. Ronan Ozawa, he walks again. And so does Asal. It was Hector Montoya. I will see you guys for Edge of Darkness 7-8. Okay, folks, we've returned. Let's start Edge of Darkness 7-8. You must be shocked and confused about El Rey's claim, Matthew. I didn't want you to find out this way. I don't understand. El Rey said you've been helping Sombra from the start. Clearly he's lying, right? It's complicated. You're saying it's true? It can't be. My hands are tied, Matthew. I can't tell you anything. You must discover the truth yourself. In the meantime, I'm standing down as chief of the Bureau. Ingrid will take over my duties. I don't understand anything. Tell us El Rey is lying. All I ask is you keep an open mind, Matthew. I trust you will discover the truth. Matthew, I don't understand. Is Ripley admitting she somehow helped Sombra? Did she betray the Bureau? I'm so confused and she won't tell us anything. You're right. We need to talk to El Rey again. I don't trust him, but he's our only chance at finding out more. I know, I'm still in shock too. About Chief Ripley's ties to Sombra. And as if having one mole, and as if having Angela as the mole was bad enough, now we have Chief Ripley. Unbelievable. Back so soon, Marshal Matthew? Missed me already? No more games, El Rey. Start talking about your claims concerning Chief Ripley. You disappoint me, Marshal Matthew. You're the investigator. Find the evidence yourself. You better start talking now, or I swear... Shoot me and you'll never get answers. Rise above your anger, Marshal Matthew. Change your perspective. You're completely insane. Matthew, let's leave this madman to rot away in the shadows. Remember, Marshal Matthew, it's only a question of perspective. That went well as expected. El Rey gave us nothing. What, Matthew? You seriously think his ravings about changing perspective and rising above things are clues? I guess he could have been hinting at the skybox. It's high above the stadium and gives people a new perspective on the rink. I hate playing games, but I guess we don't have a choice. Matthew, I heard what El Rey said about Ripley. I can't help thinking it could be a smokescreen to distract you. Remember, El Rey stole those classified documents from Stone's apartment. Maybe there's something he doesn't want us to know. If El Rey's plans didn't end with Stone's murder, we must find out what else he had up his sleeve. Alright, let's all pull together. Jonah, you go with Matthew to Stone's apartment. I'll wait for you at the skybox. Let's start with the skybox first, actually. There we go, stack of papers. But like all of you, I am just as shocked myself that we had two moles in the Bureau. Angela and now Chief Ripley. Who would have thought? Do you think those documents are what El Rey wanted us to find, Matthew? They might be full of lies, but they could explain what Ripley's part has been in all of this. Let's have a look. There we go. P. Molina. These documents are from the Canadian Secret Service, Matthew. These must be the files El Rey stole from Stone. And look at this photo. It says Operation Sombra. And is that Chief Ripley? Ripley looks so young. This must have been taken years ago. But what's Operation Sombra? And who's that P. Molina? These could be the answers we're looking for. Let's get this photo to Elliot, Matthew. "9 hours. I will get the results tomorrow. And let's take care of the rooftop terrace." Oh. Broken CD. There we are. If this CD has anything to do with Sombra's plans, El Rey would have every reason to break it. We'd better put it back together, Matthew. Peter Walker. This CD is labeled Peter Walker, inmate number 247. The name doesn't ring a bell, Matthew. Do you think it could be linked to Sombra? Well, there's no time to waste. Let's send the CD to Elliot. But still, I can't believe it. Chief Ripley, Sombra? And I thought Case 42 was bad enough when we found out Angela was the mole. So we'll let these two run their courses. I will get the results tomorrow, so for now, this is Matthew. See you then. Alright folks, we've returned. Let's get the results of the photograph and the restored CD. We're going to start with the photograph first. I've got good news and bad news, Matthew. Start with the good news. We could use some. While I can't find any trace of an Operation Sombra, this photo was taken back when the chief was a special agent for the CIA. It was probably a mission. The bad news is this P. Molina she's talking to is none other than Arsenio Castillo. What? Chief Ripley met with Sombra's founder? Well, this doesn't mean she helped them. We need to find out more. I doubt he'll be talkative, Matthew, but I agree. Castillo's our only lead. Let's go jog his memory. Boy, as if finding out Angela was the mole was bad enough, now we find out that Chief Ripley is another mole. Marshal Matthew, what a surprise. I never thought we'd meet again. This isn't a social call, Arsenio, and why are you so upbeat? Didn't you hear we caught El Rey? I heard. Hector bit off more than he could chew, but I'm certain he's got a few tricks up his sleeve. Not on our watch. Now we're here about this photograph. Ah yes, Special Agent Elizabeth and her Operation Sombra. I wondered how long it would take before you discovered this. A quick history lesson. Back in the 1980s, there was a little-known monarchy called Grenada on the southern border of Colombia. Nobody cared about it until they struck oil. Suddenly, everyone wanted a piece of Grenada, the U.S. included. But they needed an excuse to enter the country, a made-up enemy. That's when the talented Mrs. Ripley came on the scene. I don't know how she found us. Sombra was still a small group of intellectuals lacking funds to put our ideas into practice. But she offered me a deal. The CIA would give Sombra funds, and in exchange, Sombra would threaten Grenada. The U.S. then stepped in and saved Grenada from Sombra's attacks, basically invading them in the process. So the CIA used you to get their hands on Grenada's oil? And then what? They let you walk away? Hardly. They used us for a few more operations. Then they tried to wipe us out. But erasing Sombra from their records wasn't enough. They destroyed our headquarters, sent assassins after me. They razed us to the ground. I managed to fake my death, transferring our remaining funds and the title of El Rey to young Hector. Sombra went underground. So Ripley thought Sombra was destroyed. Yes, she and the CIA underestimated us. We were already much stronger than they'd ever anticipated, and Hector made us stronger still. I need a moment to take this all in. Take your time, and take this. It looks like you could both use a pick-me-up, Marshal Matthew. Nice, a burger. Thank you very much. I can't believe Castillo when he says the CIA used Sombra to invade Grenada, Matthew. I've never heard such stories before. But that means Ripley really was involved. And while I'm sure she thought Sombra had been eliminated, why didn't she share this with us when she found out they were still active? I'm not sure it's related, Matthew, but Asal's up to her old tricks. I saw her in the Hall of Fame, but when she spotted me, she bolted. I could use a distraction. Matthew, let's go check out the Hall of Fame. I do have 37 messages in there, but that's all just energy I haven't collected yet. Locked lighter. There's no sign of a saw, but a lighter with a lock on it? That has Spy Gadget written all over it. Let's crack it open. OCM, NDF, and 659. Flash drive. Bingo! This lighter hit a USB key. This must be a Saul's. Let's get it to Elliot and see what's on it. Six hours. And the restored CD. So, little man, did you find anything on that prisoner? He wasn't actually a prisoner. Peter Walker was a psychiatric patient. This CD contains his treatment history. 2 months ago, Walker claimed he was part of a powerful order hell-bent on world domination. Walker said the eagle will fall at the hands of the king. The doctors dismissed this as the imaginings of a delusional madman. But they raised an alarm when Walker was found murdered the following morning. Someone clearly wanted to keep him quiet. A powerful order bent on world domination. Could that be Sombra? Sorry, Matthew, this file doesn't say. We must figure out if this Peter Walker was Sombra. Ronan worked with him, right? Do you think he'd know? If he does, I'm sure I can make him talk. Let's go see Ronan, Matthew. Beforehand, I'm going to go ahead and just add in this energy because I think that was the last time I was going to have to do a crime scene here. Yeah, I'm really working my way up. I'm currently up over 66,000 energy. Taking a look at my cards real quick. There we are. Still have a burger, but I'm not going to use that just yet. I might just take the week to myself. before the next case opens up. But let's see what Ronan has to say. Good thing you haven't skipped town, Ronan. We'd like your help with something. I never give information away, but maybe we could negotiate. Your Sombra drive in exchange for whatever I can tell you? Nice try, Ronan. How about you give us what you know in exchange for me not punching you? Let's all be reasonable. So what have you got? We've looked into the file of a psychiatric patient in Montreal, a certain Peter Walker. The Sombra recruit gone mad? That idiot learned the hard way. You shouldn't attract attention. So Walker actually was Sombra? Matthew, this gives a whole new meaning to his crazy ramblings. We need to get back to the station. Glad I could help, I guess. In a way, I'm impressed you put El Rey away, Marshal Matthew. Have this to show there's no hard feelings. 20,000, cool. Thank you very much. Matthew, what did Walker say on that CD? The eagle will fall at the hands of the king. You're right, Matthew. Now that we know Walker was Sombra, it's easy to see the king is El Rey. And the eagle, that must be the President of the United States, James Hewitt. Wait, you think El Rey's plan was to assassinate Hewitt? But that means you just say the President of the United States, Matthew. That's incredible. This must have been Sombra's plan all along. Turn the U.S. against their allies, dividing the country and isolating them, then create a power vacuum in order to seize control. And it would have worked if it weren't for you, Matthew. After chasing Sombra around the globe, the reign of terror is over. Wow. So it looks like but you know, only 9 minutes have passed. But I'm going to go ahead and speed this up anyway because I do want to get this over with. Even though I already have just about 6 more days until the... yeah, actually 5 more days until the next case opens up. And that's tops. But anyway, let's get the results of the lighter. I don't know how Assault got hold of what's on that USB key, Matthew, but you'll want to see this. I thought you'd eliminated Sombra years ago, Ripley. Why are they popping up all over my agent's reports? I'm aware of the situation and it's under control. I'm assembling a team of investigators to deal with them. This is all you're doing. If you hadn't financed these madmen in the first place, none of this would be happening. Don't tell me things I already know, Director, and you are more than happy to use them as an excuse for your operations. This team of yours, none of them can know about Sombra's origins, not even your best agents. We must keep this under wraps. You do your job, Director, and I'll do mine. Mark my words, Sombra will be stopped. So Ripley was a friend in wolf's clothing after all. So Ripley created the Bureau specifically to stop Sombra. Except she never told us that was our purpose. I still can't believe she hid all this from us. Well, clearly the director of Mossad didn't want the truth to get out. That's no excuse. She could have still told us. She let us fumble in the dark for months just to protect her reputation? All I keep thinking of is that Michelle might still be alive if we'd known what we were walking into, Matthew. I know, Matthew's right. Assault had that video and didn't tell us anything. We need to find out why. Let me come with you, Matthew. I need to talk to Assault myself. What she knows about Chief Ripley? We found your USB key, Assault. All this time you knew Ripley was responsible for Sombra's rise to power, and you didn't tell me? I didn't know it when we were dating, if that's what you mean. I only became suspicious when my boss told me to lay off the Bureau. That's when I started digging into Mossad's files and found that video. I assumed you knew about Ripley's guilt and were covering up for her mistakes. We were just trying to stop Sombra. Ripley never told us anything. And it's not like you were forthcoming with information. You treated the hunt for El Rey like a game. Can you blame me? I thought if you got to him first, you'd make him disappear, along with any proof that Sombra ever existed, conveniently absolving your chief of responsibility. Well, El Rey's behind bars, and we'll make sure he gets the punishment he deserves. So you really did it? You caught El Rey? I clearly misjudged you, Jack. You always said I should have trusted you more. Maybe you were right. Just remember that next time you meet someone. I'll keep that in mind. I wish you all the best, Marshal Matthew. And Jack, I wish you all the best with Lars. I have no idea what you mean, but thanks. But thanks? Oh, and by the way, Marshal Matthew, I wanted to give you this. Let's say it's a thank you for bringing down Sombra. So it's a hockey mask. Cool. Matthew, I kind of thought catching El Rey would make me happy, but all I can think about are Chief Ripley's lies. Clearly, the Chief tried to right her wrongs. The CIA assumed Sombra was destroyed after Grenadier. They had no idea El Rey had slipped into their shadows. Into the shadows. Right, Matthew. We must remember who the real bad guys are. I'm afraid it's not that black and white, Jonah. I'd like to talk to Ripley. She asked us to find the truth for ourselves. Well, we have. Where is she? Matthew, I don't know how to tell you this. Ripley's gone. What do you mean, gone? She's gone. Her office is empty. The only thing left was a message on her computer. Look. Matthew, by the time you're watching this, I'll be gone. Please understand, when I made that deal with Castillo, I thought I was working for the greater good. I was arrogant and ambitious. I thought Sombra would be a convenient enemy to exploit, a decoy I could dispose of when they were no longer useful. But I underestimated them, and the world has paid the price for my mistake. I hoped by establishing the Bureau, you would put a stop to the monster I helped create. You succeeded beyond my wildest expectations, Matthew. I always intended to step down once El Rey was caught, and while I would have liked to celebrate this victory with you, I realize I'm in no position to claim it as my own. I will have to live with the weight of my decisions. You will not see me again, but I know you'll go on to accomplish even greater things. Goodbye, Matthew. It's been an honor. I'm shocked. I'm at a loss for words. Well, I guess that's that, Matthew. Ripley's gone. I still can't believe she kept so much from us. I wonder how different things might have been if we'd known the truth. There's still one thing to be done. El Rey needs to face trial for all of Sombra's crimes. We better hurry, Matthew. You don't want to miss the grand finale. This has been a long time coming, El Rey. As Sombra's supreme leader and a known assassin, you're going away for a long time. Lock me up. Do your worst. It changes nothing. I think it changes quite a lot. The world is a safer place with you behind bars, and Marshal Matthew has put a stop to your plans to assassinate President Hewitt. The world has suffered much at your hands. Innocent children used as weapons. Officers of the law ruthlessly murdered. Healing will take time, but thanks to Marshal Matthew's relentless efforts, we're now on the path to recovery and peace. Your rotting world will never heal without me. Your laws are weak. Your system is powerless. Tell it to your cellmate, El Rey. I've heard enough. I'll rest easier tonight, knowing you're behind bars for the rest of your life. And Matthew, on behalf of this court, I'd like to thank you for everything you've done. You're a testament to the power of our institutions. Enjoy your victory, Marshal Matthew. We'll see each other again. Of that, I'm certain. Cheers, Matthew. Have some more champagne. I can't believe we're finally done with Sombra. After all this time, it's over. It may be over, but we won't make the same mistakes Ripley did. People will monitor the globe for Sombra activity for years to come, making sure they don't resurface. I'm just happy this is all finally behind us. We can all move forward. Yeah, we can. Matthew, everyone, put down your drinks. Just because you're not legally allowed to drink. Listen to me, President Hewitt, he's been kidnapped. Uh-oh. So I think it's safe to say that Chief Ripley was a friend in wolf's clothing. Oh, and it looks like I made it to 370, but it didn't reward me with the orange juice. Yep. Well, actually, I have 3 days, so it'll be released on Tuesday, so that's great! Let's see, today is the 6th of November. So in 3 days, that's this Tuesday. I won't be doing a case in elite mode. 3 new ones. Four new ones. And 5 new ones. It's case 2. All I need is 1 more to finish this page. All I need is 2 more to finish this page of the killer. And that's the suspect list. Crime scene number 3. Case 30. 34. It's the victim. Okay, that's it for this. So this will be the final case of the World Edition, and it will be released 3 days from now. So, with Sombra officially a memory, we will see you guys for case number 56 on November 9th. This will be the final case before we go to the next season. For now, this is Matthew. Thank you for watching.